I was waiting to see Santana and Masha storming the castle this week on NXT, just mad as hell, but they did no such thing. They better at some point. There needs to be some sense of urgency on the TNA side because it's just a terrible look for them right now. So instead, they had Trick Williams on Tuesday, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, eat a choke slam from a 60-year-old man. The one TNA person that was on the show on Tuesday was Santino Marella, who's going to be wrestling Ethan Page for the North American title this week on TV. Santana has to win the title of Bound for Glory, and I believe he will. Is it going to hit the same way in Lowell, Massachusetts that it would have in New York? Probably not. But now they get to have their world title visible on NXT television for another 3 months. They think that benefits them. Carlos Silva has been out there talking about a media rights deal that he thinks could net them as much as $10 million a year. He thinks they could land a deal sometime in the next 60 to 90 days. Mike Johnson has said that they were in discussions with the A&E network at one point. A&E happens to be the same network that airs WWE's LFG show. And they air other shows too, right? They have other WWE shows that they air on A&E. It would be better than Access TV. I mean, they need a bigger platform for impact, but if they're hoping to pull anywhere from 250 to 500,000 viewers weekly, which is what Silva has said he thinks they could do, I mean, look, this new season of LFG is averaging 100,000 viewers. And that's a WWE show. I mean, I understand TNA has some bigger names on its show than LFG does. So, but, if LFG is pulling 100,000 viewers every week, could TNA double that and pull 200,000? Sure, I think that's doable. I think even 250,000 is not, crazy. 500,000 sounds very generous. I'll just say that. It's nice to have goals. They used to pull a lot more than that on Spike TV, but that was a lifetime ago. I mean, it's almost like two just totally different companies, just that happen to have the same initials. It's not even the same thing. This is a very different TNA now. Plus, AEW didn't exist back then. So if you weren't a WWE fan, what were you watching? You were probably watching TNA. So they were able to pull in, whatever the average number was on Spike. I mean, they were pulling 1 million there for a while, but whatever the number was that they settled into, even the wrestling landscape on TV was very different than it is today. There's a lot of content out there as it is. But they obviously feel like the WWE connection is important to getting any new deal. So the fact that they put their 2 top titles on WWE talents makes sense when you look at it from their perspective. Whether or not it pays off for them remains to be seen. I guess we'll find out in the next couple of months. One person who doesn't seem to be operating in the same reality that you and I live in is Eric Bischoff, who was a guest on Ariel Helwani Show this week, where he predicted that TNA Wrestling is on its way to surpassing AEW within the next year as the number 2 wrestling promotion in the country or in the world. Yes, really. This is what he said. The company is looking for a $10 million a year media rights deal. That company is going to surpass the company that just got around $600 million from Warner Brothers Discovery. He said he texted his congratulations to Carlos Silva for their attendance record at Slammiversary. He says they're just one deal away from being a major player. Sure. I mean, it's one thing to say that they're one deal away from being a major player. That's not what he said there, though. If they get a broadcast partner, he says, watch them take off. And then when asked directly if he believes TNA could pass AEW to become the number 2 promotion, he said it depends on the right TV deal, but by this time next year, he believes so. His argument is that AEW is catering more to a sicko audience, and I'm not even going to dispute him on that, as opposed to TNA, which he feels is catering to a more mainstream audience. So with the right TV partner, they can overtake AEW within 12 months. That's not going to happen. 3 years from now? 5 years from now with the right TV deal? Who can say? If they can get that visibility that they're lacking right now on a really good cable network, It may take a few years. Could they eventually get there? I'm not going to say no to that. But the idea that they're going to get there within the next year? No. TNA is not going to overtake AEW as the number 2 promotion in a year or a year and a half. AEW, with their sicko audience, as he calls it, just put 30,000 people in Globe Life Field in Arlington for All In. That's a lot of sickos. TNA just put 7,600 people inside the UBS Arena, which is the biggest North American audience they've done in the 23 years that company has been in existence. AEW has been in existence for what, 5 years? 30,000 people at Globe Life Field. And by the way, the 7,600 that TNA put in the UBS Arena was in part with help from WWE. Eric is smoking some of that real American reefer, the good stuff, if he honestly believes that. Now, the one thing he did say that I don't disagree with, and even on this, I think he's only partially right, is when he says that WWE's partnership with TNA is more of a strategic move to avoid any further antitrust litigation than it is a strategy to hurt AEW. WWE partnering with TNA after all these years is absolutely a reaction to AEW forging working agreements with other promotions like New Japan and CMLL. I think they realized, hey, we need to start working with some of these promotions also and using it to our advantage, right? Plus, it'll give us a direct pipeline to some of these talents. I mean, they just went and outright bought AAA. But I think it's also fair to think that after they got dinged by that settlement with MLW and its antitrust lawsuit against them, right, to the tune of $20 million they had to pay MLW, it's fair to think that that may also play a role in their thinking here, right? Let's cover our asses against another possible lawsuit from someone else in the future by showing that we can play nice with others. I think both of those things can be true.